Hello, handsome people! You may know me as the person who likes to talk about very meaningless things in the game Overwatch, such as the in-depth discussion about singular abilities in this game. But today, I decided it would be a fun challenge for myself to try and do the same kind of video, but this time instead of making and talking about a singular ability, which is a small part of the entire gameplay loop of all matches you play, I'm going to talk about something purely cosmetic, something that doesn't influence the gameplay side of things at all. Since I'm aware you have 100% functional eyeballs, you know already that I will talk about a highlight intro, so no surprise here. But what might come as a surprise is what kind of play of the game intro I chose to... Yeah, what exactly am I trying to achieve here? This will be a mix of very detailed description, fun facts, attention to detail, and at the end, I will provide you with an in-depth review of the highlight intro of my choice, which will be the highlight intro for Orisa. Quick explanation why this intro. Orisa is one of my favorite design-wise, character-wise, and gameplay-wise heroes. I think all of that potential deserves a more careful dive into the beautiful animations that were created just for her by the developers that actually cared back then, instead of making straight up garbage just so the players have something to collect in the battle pass. Additionally, Orisa has some very interesting properties that I will talk about more specifically later on. So, without any prolonging, I think it is time to talk for 8 minutes to satisfy the always hungry YouTube machine. Also, I was told that the big brother in the algorithm likes to hear very specific lines in the narration of its creators. So, just for the sake of being noticed by the YouTube gods, not everyone that is watching my videos is subscribed, so make sure you press that button. Also, don't forget to like the video, comment anything that comes to your mind, and most importantly, share the video to your grandma and force her to watch the Reinhardt review. With that out of our way, let's start! Imagine if I was like this in all of my videos, holy. We'll start with the surface level of this highlight intro, which in simple terms just means I'm going to look at the animation. But before we do that, keep in mind that Orisa is a robot. So what that means is we are supposed to see this design choice through her movement in the animation too. Also, I'm going to use the default skins for the most unbiased opinion about the animation and all the detail put into this highlight intro. The animation opens up with a constant fire from Orisa primary fire. The gun vibrates as it should do to the massive amounts of bullets that are being puked out. The gun arm is smoothly moving from right to left, giving our character this very unhuman accuracy, which is great because, as we established, our horse lady isn't flesh and bones. The gun is so powerful, in fact, that it also causes her chest plate to shake. Not only does it emphasize the sheer power of her minigun-like primary weapon, but it also conveys even more of that message of danger that she's creating. You really don't want to stand in the way of her fire, as you'd be shredded instantly. After a few seconds of fire, the unspeakable happens. There is this first moment of shock, where she notices that you, the filthy sweaty player, is looking at her. She can't react in any other way than a repulsive shock. I'm just kidding, of course, silly. What I think the animators and the directors had in mind was a moment Orisa notices that whatever she is looking at, which in this case is staring into our souls through the screen, is not her target to eliminate, causing her to rethink her entire life for a moment. This shock doesn't last long, yet we can easily highlight two different stages. Get it? Highlight? The first one is symbolized with her very wide pupils, and the second one with very small ones. Keep the eyes of Orisa in mind, as they play a huge part in the next 2 seconds. But before we talk about that, one last part of the shock phase is the left hand of hers. Noticed that before she noticed a friendly face, she was focused on gunning down anything on her way so hard, she squeezes her left hand into a fist. This happens with us humans also, when we focus really hard or do activities that require much more energy than just simply existing. This means Orisa is putting a lot of her energy into this activity, or she's in this Terminator mode where all the emotions she feels are so strong she has to clench her hand into an aggressive fist. With all of that information, look Look what happens to that hand as soon as she enters the shock phase. The hand jumps in the air and in the most natural state and complete freeze. This reaction is also often seen in humans, establishing very well that Orisa is way more than just a brain-dead robot. She has the natural human impulsive reactions built in so well, you'd think that's the Mark Zuckerberg's sister. Staying on the hand train, what happens next is completely bonkers. You as the player of this game already know what's about to happen most likely, but try to imagine you are not only seeing this character for the very first time, but also this animation. Any sane human being would think she will put her hand on her hip for that heroic pose, or maybe put it down in a neutral state, or even behind her head to, you know, show shame or apology for almost gunning down whoever is behind the camera. But this terrifying horse robot just simply waves her hand, right after leaving the brief neutral state after the shock phase. This wave fits Orisa so well because of one simple factor. Can you guess what it is? Well, if you said the eyes, you're 100% correct. We are coming back to the eyes because they play the main role in the ending section of this highlight intro. They are designed in a way that basically any human emotion, either excitement, joy or sadness, can be expressed with just those four moving elements. And what we have in this last segment of our animation is pure happiness. Yay! This robot is happy and excited to see you, as not only are you greeted with a friendly wave of her robotic hand, but also the happiest face you'll ever see. No mouth smiling, no eyebrows rising, just the yellow friendly eyes are enough for you to know that this is a very friendly and protective robot. If you don't believe me, then I still have one last part of this animation to prove my point even more. We looked at the eyes, the left hand, but now notice what happens after the shock phase with the right arm, that we know is fully functional and armed. Firstly, it stops shooting, which is connected still to that shock phase. But what happens next is what really sells the friendliness of Orisa to me. She puts the gun down entirely down behind, not hiding it, but rather putting it in the safest possible position. And to emphasize this fact even more, the careful viewers will notice she lowers her hand even more, making sure you are not threatened by her, and that she wants you to feel safe. Lastly, there is the name of the highlight intro. That is a simple word O, with exclamation mark. This word is being used in the exact same scenario we just described, which is shock and surprise. It's not a menacing O with a period at the end, but the joyful and excited O. This robot is very happy to see you, and she doesn't want to do any harm, fitting her character design like a glove. The camera work is also focused on her top half, sacrificing her unique and original four-legged design, but all of that is recompensated with the focus on her two hands and her face, which play the main role in this highlight intro. The sound work is also very good and amazing, and I think that's it. That will be it, my dear viewers. I have managed to talk about a singular highlight intro for a horse lady long enough to make it into a full YouTube video. If you enjoyed, then seriously this time make sure you subscribe and like the video, as it really does help me a ton. We are almost at a nice round Ultra HD 4K sub milestone, so let's make it a reality as quickly as it's possible. For now, this is the end, so thanks for watching, have a lovely day, bye bye. I forgot to talk about the other skins.